Hey guys, welcome back to another instance of the Scratch Golf Show episode. I think we're on number 18 here of the main podcast. A really cool guest who I'll introduce here in a minute. Just a couple quick housekeeping items before we get started. If you're watching on YouTube, first of all, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I interview content creators, PGA Tour caddies, and people all over golf. Hit that subscribe button below. If you're a returning viewer, thank you. Like and comment as to who or what you think the favorite part of this interview was. Quick shout out to our sponsors here in the Scratch Golf Show, always brought to you by Core Chiropractic and Performance Center, local family owned business here in the area. If you're local to Michigan, please check them out, corecpc.com. Doctors Billy and Maddie do a number of great services. I just saw Dr. Billy yesterday, had me feeling great after a long week of golf. And then also our newest sponsor, Breakfast Ball Golf Simulator, the newest and best golf simulator here in Michigan. I'll link that in the description. Check them out. Book your TrackMan tee time online. All that will be in the description. Anyway, guys, let's get into it. We have a really cool guest, our first cameraman here on the Scratch Golf Show, Ryder Riva. Ryder, thank you for joining the Scratch Golf Show, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Feel super important when people want to ask me questions about my job.
Oh, it's awesome, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah.
a big YouTube golf guy. As I know, I was just talking about, as you can see, I'm a good guy. Got my good hat on. Been watching Garrett forever. What feels like forever.
hmm
But if you guys don't know Ryder, he is the cameraman and editor for GM Golf. Garrett, one of the biggest solo creators and probably arguably the biggest good member. But yeah, man, thanks for joining. Like I said, I'm really excited to get started. Have you done a ton of podcasts before? Now that you mention it,
I've done one. It was
one.
the Golf Clan did something with me, so that's been
Okay.
my only other one. Before we start though,
Okay.
does Dr. Billy do any work in Colorado? I might need some of that the
I
chiropractic work there.
I wish. I'll
No.
talk to him. I'll
All
talk
right.
to him and see if he can get you out there. He does a lot of dude. It's actually really cool. He does a lot of athletes. He works with like a lot of people here. Like
Okay.
works with a couple Tigers, a couple Lions here in the area. So
Oh,
he's really
nice.
cool, man. He's one of my college roommates. Played football at Western Michigan here in the area. But I'll
Next
see if
time
I
I'm
can
in
get him a referral.
next time I'm in Michigan, I guess.
I'll let you out. I'll let him know
Yeah.
if you ever come through.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, that's awesome. Second podcast. Really excited, like I said, to have you. So let's start. Before everything, right? I know I sent you the list of questions. I kind of want to start at the beginning. So tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, before you really met Garrett, and what that story was like.
Yeah, so my story, I guess, begins in Santa Barbara. That's where I grew up. It was home to me until about 2.5 years ago. And in terms of like, I'm assuming you're asking about the videography and kind of when I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
connected to Garrett. Growing up, I would say I was always intrigued by video cameras and filming, capturing stuff. Was always, I remember, would go to like college basketball games and would always have like my iPod trying to get a
yeah,
game winner or film something. So always had like a kind of a thing for it. And then during high school, my first kind of, I guess, first, not, it wasn't a job, but it was like first experience with editing. It was more
yeah,
editing. It was my high school basketball coach at the time had a like basketball Instagram page,
yeah.
and he basically just like posted his basketball edits. It was called Pros Before Pros or something like that, to where it was like
Nice.
and I thought that was so cool. He was just like making
Yeah,
little edits, and so I think when I was a sophomore, I started just editing stuff on my phone, posting basketball clips, just random like highlights and whatnot.
yeah,
So that was my first kind of experience with editing. And then the filming came a little bit later when my senior year. So I played basketball up until my junior year. And then
yeah.
senior year, I stopped playing because there was a nonprofit organization called Kids Helping Kids that needed someone that to do video and editing and like stuff for marketing. So I kind of took my senior year, instead of doing, as much basketball, I kind of put that focus into videography in this, this program called Kids Helping Kids. On
Nice.
top of that, I also filmed for my high school basketball team, like went to the games and made little edits to
Yeah.
kind of, and I think I was way more helpful on the basketball team doing that than than playing. Not that I was
Playing.
bad at basketball, but they had a good team. They ended up like
Hell yeah.
winning CIF that year, so it was cool to kind of have like a part of it. And that was really the first of like, okay, I got a camera, started editing stuff a bunch, was probably spent more time doing videos than schoolwork my senior year, which
Nice.
looking back, it probably wasn't great, but looking back, it also probably was great. So,
Because you wouldn't be here if you didn't do that.
yeah, probably not. And so with Garrett came along in, or not came along, but I kind of first got in contact with him during that, like during high school. I think my senior year, and it was just like a DM that I had sent him because I had seen him on Instagram doing these little trick shots,
Yeah.
and just seemed like a cool kid. And I don't know, I didn't like go around DMing a bunch of people, but I DM'd him. And I was like, hey, cool stuff, man. Like, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then that was when he probably had 3,000 followers on Instagram maybe at the time. So
Damn.
yeah, I got him early, you know.
Yeah.
So just kind of built a relationship with him, over messaging here and there. And that was before he was even doing YouTube. And then once he started doing YouTube, I was the first. He knew I did video edits and stuff like that. And I kind of let him know, like, hey, I do edits if you ever need help.
Yeah.
And he was doing his own edits at the time. I remember like being on a FaceTime call with him, like teaching him how to edit better and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like early on. So when he got to a point where he was able to hire someone, I was the first person he reached out to. So just kind of through that, it was probably a couple years of editing for him, just kind of off and on. He had another guy, Bradley, is someone that did a lot of his stuff. So it was kind of like I would kind of fill in when he needed me to. And then I would say a little over 2 years ago now, he asked me to come on more full time, like filming and editing.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's been probably a little over 2 years, like doing full time GM golf stuff. So yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Well, hell of a story. It's awesome that like similar to you got started like, when you were younger kind of in the filming and editing and camera. For
Hmm.
me, I can barely turn a laptop on and hold a camera. I do not, so I do a little bit of the playing stuff. And I don't have a camera guy full time. We're working on it, but makes me respect and appreciate your work even more because that's really really hard to do. Just holding an iPhone, I can't imagine lugging a big camera around, making sure you get all the angles and stuff like that.
No,
That's cool. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, so you guys have known each other for a long time then, for probably
Yeah,
what,
it's
5, 6
been,
years?
yeah, at least, yeah, 5, 6, 6.5, maybe. I got to go back on the first DM, I
Yeah,
guess. I don't know
no,
if that's
for
really
sure.
like, I don't know if that's really like knowing him, but first time I met him was, you have to go way back, but it was a video he did with Grant and Micah in San Diego, and they played for like a car or something like that. It was like a hundred
Yeah,
thousand dollars or something like that. So that was the first time that I like met all of them.
yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of cool that I would go back to that video and you can see me in the background, just like
yeah,
just there. Yeah.
for sure. So I want to talk a little bit more about Garrett, but let's transition to a little something different. So something a lot of people maybe who are more have watched Garrett's videos for a long time or have followed Garrett a closer and know a little bit more about you. So you obviously are an athlete. You
Hmm.
played spike ball, and you were formerly, I don't know if you still are, but you were ranked the number one spike ball player in the world. So talk to me a little bit about that. And do you still play? Are you still number one, and what that looks like?
Yeah, definitely not number one anymore because I don't play. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of my like fun fact that I'm gonna have for a while. Like when I'm an uncle or something, and be like, Your uncle is ranked number one." Like, so it's kind of a cool fun fact. But no, that was like probably 2 years of my life that I wouldn't say dedicated towards spike ball, but it was a big part of my life, going and traveling,
Yeah.
meeting a bunch of people, and just competing at a sport that is like pretty new and was fun, and like I
Yeah.
was happened to be pretty good at it. So um yeah, it was definitely not number one anymore because I haven't played in the last like year and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was definitely a cool like opportunity and cool thing that I did. I met a lot of my good friends doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what's the competitive spike ball scene like?
Um, I can only talk on it from a year and a half ago, but
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I wouldn't say it's definitely competitive, but there's not like money involved in it. There's not, you're not making money really. You kind of just hope to
Yeah.
break even.
That's
So
fair.
I think it's more of a way for people to meet other cool people and
Yeah.
have fun, travel to different places. Like it's an excuse to travel other places. And
Yeah.
most people play because the community is so great.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot more people now. They're like, every year it gets more and more, you know. widespread. There's more
Yeah.
people and whatnot. But yeah,
That's awesome. I saw some videos. I followed your spikeball account. I saw you could spin it a little bit, dude. You hit some,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I've played a little bit on the beach. It's hard. I'm by no means good. I'm
Mhm.
terrible at it. But dude, you had some skill. Like it's like competitive ping pong. Like when you see it, you're like, damn, like those people are really freaking impressive at what they
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And that's
Most
also
people
cool. Go
I was gonna
ahead.
say most people don't even know there's a competitive side. As I
Right.
didn't like a couple years
Yeah.
ago, I was like, "What? You can go to tournaments and stuff." And
Yeah.
then, when you play on your friends at the beach, you think you're the best, and
Yeah.
then it's like, yeah, there's levels to it to it, and so
But it's also
uh,
it's also cool that you can say you were ranked number one in something. I mean, regardless
yeah,
of what it is, most people in their life cannot say that, right? I
yeah,
mean,
no, it's
golf. That's pretty cool. How does the ranking system work? Like, is it? I don't want to get
um
too in depth, but
I think there was like a panel of people, whether
okay,
it be like other players or coaches or something like that, or just
yeah,
people in the community that came together and voted, and yeah,
okay.
so they voted me the best.
So you obviously played basketball, played spike ball. Do you play a lot of other sports? And how competitive are you just from that aspect?
In terms of just competitive about anything, I'm as
Yeah, just in
competitive as
general.
they come.
Yeah,
Like
same
yeah,
here.
I'll be playing games with my
Yeah,
roommate and have to like dial it back because I'm losing and whatnot.
yeah,
So in terms of
yeah,
competitiveness, I'm as competitive as they come. But I
yeah.
also played volleyball all 4 years in
Oh, cool.
high school. So yeah.
Where did you go to college and where did you go?
I went
If you
to a year of, so I grew up in Santa Barbara, went to a
Yeah.
year of college at Santa Barbara City College, more to
Oh,
just
cool.
kind of please the parents,
Yeah, fair
and
enough.
then just got busy with work. I would say
Work.
two years before, doing Garrett stuff full time,
Yeah.
I was doing weddings, real estate, just kind of
Oh,
any
cool.
other
Yeah,
videography,
making
editing
freelance.
jobs. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, let's transition a little bit back to Garrett. I know you mentioned kind of how you met and how you got the job, but I'm curious more on your guys' process. So is it so you obviously are full time with him? Is it just you that you're his main guy? You do all of his stuff?
Yeah, I would say as of like 3 months ago, I was, but a couple months
Okay.
ago, or maybe more than that at this point. But we've added someone on that's been doing
Oh,
thumbnails
cool.
now, and I'm sure you could see a change in like
Yeah.
better thumbnails in the last couple months. So that's nice because that was always my least favorite part. I'd spend so
Yeah.
much time on a video, and it's like, oh, now we got to do a thumbnail and title,
No.
and which is the most important part. So
Yeah.
um,
Dude,
and then
I
we've
get
also
that.
had my friend Michael, who I told you Spikeball is a place where you meet a bunch of cool
Yeah.
people. Like Michael is someone that's came and helped on and helped film and like edit a little bit. But yeah, up until a couple months ago, it was pretty much just me doing everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been nice to kind of have a little bit of help when I need to, because
Delegate.
yeah, delegate a little bit.
Yeah. I feel that, man. I'm doing this. I'm still new, 6 months, a little over 6 months now, but the thumbnails, the everything it's a lot
Yep.
more work than people realize.
Yeah.
And sometimes not a ton of rewards because the views and all. YouTube's a hard game.
Yep.
But I'm curious more from your process, like and process is a loose term, like how do like if he wants to shoot a video, like obviously he lives in Texas and I believe are you in Colorado?
Yeah.
Okay. So like do you guys meet weekly and brainstorm content ideas? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I would say we meet probably once, like a week out of each month, and it's kind of
Okay.
a game of, you know, when is he not doing stuff with Good, and
Yeah.
when can he film for GM? So it's kind of like I kind of need to be ready whenever. He knows schedule ahead of time to where he says like, oh, next, this November 6th to
Yeah.
8th, like we can have 2 days here to film, and yeah, usually it's going and basically just meet him at the place and film. Yeah.
Okay. So from like a travel hotel, is that on him? Is that on you? Like are you responsible for booking your way there? How does that work?
I get my flights. I usually have, because he flies out of Dallas, and I usually
Yeah,
just kind
yeah.
of have, it's a quick flight from Colorado Springs to Dallas, and
Okay.
then I usually just get on his kind of same flight.
How much of a role do you play in like the actual videos themselves? Like obviously YouTube golf is it's still new, it's still growing, but obviously the playing stuff has become somewhat saturated. But there's a ton of I mean, it's a good thing. There's a ton of good creators, right, that are
hmm
coming up and coming. But like are you responsible for like brainstorming some of the content ideas? How does that work?
Yeah, I think the more I've like worked for him, like if you had asked me this when I first started, I've been like, no, it's pretty much Garrett that comes up with stuff. But
Yeah.
I feel like now I can say like I have a pretty big role in, figuring out not always like what we're shooting or where, because he books the trips, he has like the people on the
Yeah.
trips and whatnot. But in terms of like certain ideas or like I guess the directing, if you will, I feel like I play a pretty big role in, sometimes what we title it, sometimes what a thumbnail is going to look like,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And so yeah, I feel like I have a big say, and I think a lot of that is like I've learned from Garrett what
Yeah.
he likes, what works, and through that have basically just like there's a lot of times where like we'll be working together and we'll just like think about the same thing, or it's like, dude, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. I was thinking we do that for the intro. I was thinking the same title, or whatever. But
Yeah.
um yeah, definitely more and more, which is cool. And I think he trusts me with, the like gives me very very much creative freedom to do, what I want in a certain video, or like if I have an idea, he like is like, oh yeah, I like that idea. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's huge. I mean, obviously, like, GM is one of the biggest and most recognizable channels. Like, I'm no hiding from that. So the fact that he's trusted you to do stuff and take on a lot more of that creative responsibility and freedom, I got to imagine you got to done a lot of good work to get to that point. So that obviously, I think, speaks
Yeah.
volumes to you and the value you bring to the team. And just a quick follow up, like, I know we talked about how I do caddies and cameramen are similar to caddies, like from the
Hmm.
golf perspective, but how is he as a boss? And I don't want you to like not in a bad way, but I know you guys are obviously friends.
Yeah.
Is your working relationship more like boss, like cameraman, or just friends who you just happen to work for him?
I mean, there's definitely like a work relationship, and there's times where, we need to have certain conversations about, money or whatever or something like that.
Yeah,
But I would say 80% just friends. And
yeah,
at this point, there's like not much that needs to be said. Like we've been working together for so long. It's like he knows what he expects of me. I know what I expect of him, kind of thing.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, so definitely,
No,
definitely more friends. Like I
yeah.
100% consider him a great friend of mine.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Garrett, I mean, I've never obviously met him. Garrett, if you see this, would love to have you on someday. But it seems like if you like every person I've ever talked to, obviously we've had a few of the good members on. I've talked to a few people in the space. Like everyone who's came across him has had nothing but good things to say about him. Like he's very nice, very genuine. So I can only imagine, like you said, it all kind of makes sense that y'all are just so successful as a team. So when you our guys like are actually on the course shooting videos, like how does that process work? Like, does he tell you like, "Hey, stand here"? Like, is it on you to get the angles and the tracers, and he just kind of shows up and plays? What does that look like?
Yeah, I feel like part of what like the value I bring is just making stuff as easy on him as it can be. And
Yeah,
that ranges from like helping out with titles and thumbnails, like as little work as he can do.
yeah,
Not as little, like he still has a big role in like, titles,
right,
thumbnails, videos, all that, but just like he's so busy with other things, and he doesn't have time to worry about like what a video is going to look like, or oh, I want to get an intro shot this team video or something like that. So I feel
yeah,
like most of that is on me to like
yeah,
kind of have a vision in my head of like what a video is going to look like, what pieces I need of that pieces of the puzzle to the video to make it great,
yeah.
I guess. So I would say mostly on me to, do my job, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fair. When obviously you mentioned you brought on help, but when you guys were when it was just you two, like were you responsible for the drone shots and everything? Like that was all kind of on you?
Yeah.
Like that's impressive if it was
Yeah, it was a
because
lot.
that's a lot of work,
Yeah,
man.
it's a lot harder with one person. It was
Yeah,
like it was a lot more of like, okay, I'd give the camera to Garrett at some points to film so I could get a drone shot, or so I could get a B shot because I knew I needed it for the intro. But yeah, now having someone else that, is on the A camera most of the time, like Michael's kind of on the
yeah.
A camera, where I can go off and get drone shots or get B-roll stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about like the process of actually editing. So
Hmm.
obviously, people who maybe aren't as familiar with YouTube or playing or just video making in general, like you record all that stuff and I'm, 4 hours worth of footage. It typically takes 4 to 5 hours to play an 18 hole round, right?
Yeah.
So you compress that footage into sometimes 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the video. Like, what does your process of editing look like? How do you get the footage trimmed? And like, what is a typical turnaround time on a video, depending on how much time you actually spend on
Yeah, are you asking like how long it takes to edit a video, or like if we film a video, does that come out in a month, or like?
it? I guess let's start with how long it takes to film a video, and then like if you shoot a video, how long it takes to actually, what I mean, comes out in a month. Let's
Yeah,
just talk,
I mean,
I,
yeah, I mean, filming a video is like however long a round takes. I would say they're pretty quick. Even if we have four people, like we've gotten pretty
yeah,
efficient about, if we have a group of four, we have two cameras that split up, and
yeah.
we keep pace for 4.5 hours
No, for
usually.
sure. Yeah.
4.5 hours. But then yeah, step one, you got to go back to the hotel or Airbnb or house wherever you're
Yeah.
staying,
I guess
load the
just walk me through the
footage.
process of that whole process of getting
Yeah.
it to, yeah.
Yeah, it takes probably an hour to like load the footage, and that's like the most important part because if footage doesn't get on there, doesn't
Right,
it
right,
doesn't get to your screen. So,
right.
yeah, download the footage. I have it on like if you want me to get really specific, I have kind of two sets of cards to where like we'll go on one trip, I'll use all these cards, and then the next trip I kind of just put those SD cards away. I don't format them, and then I switch it out with another set. Garrett doesn't like formatting SD cards for good
Yeah,
reason, so kind of have like two different
yeah.
sets of SD cards, and then my computer has 8 terabytes of storage, so I have it
Holy
on like the
shit.
internal storage, and then I usually back it up on a hard drive. So, because I mean, the last thing you want is to lose footage from a trip or a
Right,
day or anything, because
right.
um, so yeah, you load it on, and then as far as editing goes, it's you get the process of you sync everything up, and then I usually do a like rough cut, so that's just cutting out all the stuff in between shots or
Yeah,
whatnot. And that would use, let's say if it's a 4 hour long round, 4.5 hour long with four people. um it depends on like who's playing. If there's a lot more banner, depends on how much they
yeah.
use the cart cams. Like, because a 4 hour round could be 30 minutes and it could be 2 hours. Like, it
Right.
depends on how much is. Because if you think
That's
about it,
crazy.
it's a 4 hour round of golf, but if two cameras are rolling at the same time,
Yeah,
that's twice the amount of footage. Like if a
right.
minute goes by but two cameras are rolling, there's 2 minutes of footage that you have to look at. So 4.5
Yeah,
hours is really like seven hours,
yeah,
7.5 hours. So yeah, no, it's a lot to cut down. That's probably the most like maybe not the most time consuming, but the most like monotonous. Like, okay, you're just cutting out the stuff in between,
yeah,
enabling, disabling like who's speaking, because we started using these like lav mics.
yeah,
um so I would say that usually takes, a day or two, day and a half, full day of rough cutting if it's an 18
yeah,
hole video. And then I like to go through, and that's when I'll add like music and, drone shots,
yeah,
all that stuff, little like text here and there. And then I'll go back and add graphics. And then throughout that whole process, I'm kind of like marking stuff because I think intros are something that it's like the most fun for me to do, and something that I think kind of makes our channel what it is like just fun
yeah,
intros that kind of display what the video is going to be about.
yeah,
So I'll like mark certain points of like, oh, that could be good for the intro, or depending on what the video is, it's like, okay, I'll use that for the intro. And then I
yeah,
usually do that. Sometimes I'll do the intro before if I'm like really excited about it. Sometimes I'll wait till the end when I have all those different clips marked, and then make the intro, and there you go. There you got yourself a video. And then
dude.
tracers, I get tracers too. Like,
Yeah.
those are kind
Are
of
the
just
tracers hard to do?
not, I mean, they're time consuming. I wouldn't say they're hard. Once you know how to do it, it's like you're just kind of entering in a formula
Yeah,
almost. I actually like doing them the most because I can turn on music or turn on a podcast, and it's like I don't have to like,
yeah.
it doesn't take that much brain power. It's just like dragging stuff and
So
whatnot.
do you have to remember the actual shot? Like, do you remember like this is like a high fade? Or are you just kind of guessing almost?
No, I mean you can see most of the time like the ball land and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes if they like hit it out, I kind of know like, okay, it went
Yeah.
somewhere over there. Like I would say the traces are 95% accurate in terms of like,
Yeah, no, 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 for sure.
yeah.
I've never done it. I've tried to learn, man. It's really hard. Like I said,
Yeah.
I've tried to do the playing stuff. I've had one guy just I paid somebody to do it. I couldn't figure it out. Do
Yeah.
you use a Premiere Pro? Or I guess what do you
Usually
use to
After
edit?
Effects for
Okay.
tracers, yeah. That's kind of
Okay.
like that's almost what I love most about my job is like finding new ways to make my job easier and faster, and
Yeah.
like be able to and better like, and I feel like it's taken, you know, 3 years at this point to kind of dial in the camera equipment I have, the certain settings of cameras, like
Yeah.
plugins, LUTs, things that just make my job easier, I guess. So
How so from an equipment perspective, is all the equipment like that you guys film with, is that yours or his, or is it a mix of both?
yeah, I would say mostly stuff that I've bought and
Okay.
that's mine. We have some of the Zoom cameras I think he has or like were used from Good or
Yeah.
something, but yeah, most of the stuff is mine.
That's awesome. How much footage like do you think goes like unshown? Like do you like
Um let's in terms of like a percentage, I would say it depends on the video because sometimes they get crazy and
yeah.
stuff needs to get cut
Yeah.
out. But I would say 65-70% of the footage
That's crazy, man.
is like them. And usually
Yeah.
stuff that gets cut out is just like, oh, it wasn't important to the video, it wasn't funny, it didn't like
Yeah.
add anything, or it
Yeah.
just kind of makes the video like longer than not
Yeah.
necessary. So yeah.
Do you so obviously you are full time with GM. Are
Mhm.
you still doing some stuff for Good on the side?
No, I don't do that's kind of like a common misconception is people think I work for Good,
Yeah.
which I have in the past.
I was say I
The
thought you
time
did some stuff for them just like as a like a freelancer just on the side.
yeah, I've done some like filming and then I was technically like employed by them oh maybe a year ago, a little more than a year ago
Yeah.
when Garrett wasn't doing as much with GM or he didn't want to do as
Yeah.
much and he was like, "Oh, let's have you help out with Good."
Okay.
But yeah, no, I haven't in a while like done anything for
Okay.
them. So yeah,
So
they
you
have their people, and I like doing stuff for Garrett.
yeah, no, for sure, obviously. And so you mentioned like, so how often like are you guys planning out your schedule in advance? So like, for example, obviously the Micah match just dropped. Speaking of
hmm
intros, that was badass that you did for his video. I
So
loved it.
that one actually wasn't me. I love to take credit for
Oh,
it, but that
really?
was that was Bradley, one of his old editors. That
Okay.
yeah,
Dang.
our initial like thought with that was Bradley edited all of his old stuff, and Garrett wanted like a compilation of a bunch of old videos to like
Yeah.
kind of show the history. And I was like, I didn't edit all these. Like Bradley knows all these
Yeah.
best, and he was free, so and he went he did way more than we asked him to. So, but
Okay.
that was insane.
But how much? So like how far out are you planning? Like, do you guys have stuff planned for like December already? Like 5 6 weeks out?
No, we have a November trip planned, and that's about it. Yeah, we're definitely like
Okay.
as not behind. I guess we are kind of behind. We're as behind as on like content right now as we've been in a while. So
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Cool, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the content. I mean, obviously, Garrett, like I said, one of the biggest creators in the space. If you don't know GM Golf, I don't really know. If you're watching this, you don't know GM Golf, I don't really know why you're watching this. But you film with some of the biggest creators, athletes. I mean, some really, really cool names. Like, tell me some stories behind some of those videos, trips with some cool people.
Yeah, it's definitely
Anything that comes to mind?
yeah, for sure. There's been so many cool people that we film with that I'm just like pinch myself when I'm with them. I'm like, dude, what am I doing here? Like,
Right?
I don't belong here. It's like, how do we get this person on?
Yeah.
I guess a couple that comes to mind. One of them being, one of them was Noah Khan was a fun one because I
Yeah.
was like a fan of his, and we saw him in Austin like maybe a year before we actually filmed with him. We were supposed to film with him, and then he had a sound check or something didn't work out.
Yeah.
And that's when I started like kind of listening to him and following him, and
Yeah.
it just seemed like a great guy, loved his music, and then meeting him, it's like it's so cool when you meet someone that you're a fan of and
Yeah.
they're like
Exactly.
even better than you expect them to be, or like, and he was just like the coolest person, was super like humble and like stoked to be on the channel and in a video. Like
Yeah.
he's just a fan of the videos happened to be.
Yeah.
So
That's so
um
cool, man.
that one was super cool. We got to go to his concert in Dallas and got to go like backstage with him before and just kind of hang out. And it's like, dude, so crazy. Like filming with someone, you're like, oh, it's our friend kind
Yeah.
of, and then he's singing in
Yeah.
front of 30,000 people or whatever.
Yeah.
So Noah was super cool. Someone that I was like really impressed with was Sketch, actually. I didn't really
Oh, yeah.
understand, like that was kind of when Sketch was kind of popping off and all
Yeah.
that, and I didn't really understand it. After the first hole, I was like, oh
Makes
my
sense.
gosh, I get it. I get why he's so popular. Like just his
Yeah.
like the banter and his quick like back and forth, like some of his one-liners. So that one was like I was like most impressed with. Of like, okay,
Yeah.
this guy's hilarious. It makes sense that he is doing as good as he's doing. And another cool one recently was doing stuff with some of the NBA guys. So
Yeah. I
like
was just about to ask you
D'Lo,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, D'Lo, Austin, which we've done stuff with Austin a couple times
Austin
before
Reeves.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Booker was there, and then a couple other guys. So that was cool, just because I'm a huge sports fan. So
Yeah.
seeing people that you watch on TV, and then also
Yeah.
like them being so cool was awesome too. It's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
like they're just
No, I
super
was
cool
gonna ask you. I
people.
was like, I know you film with being a basketball guy. I gotta imagine D Book and those guys gotta be super cool. D
Yeah,
Book's a Michigan guy, so being a
yeah,
Michigan guy, I can respect that. That's awesome, man. No, I get it. Like you said, you pinch yourself when you kind of go through that stuff. You're just like, like you said, like what am I doing here? That's I felt that way when I've had some of the guests come on, so I can only imagine what it's like you said, meeting someone who's selling out stadiums and is just a fan of your work. So that's
yeah.
got to be super cool. Have you like ever like had like an embarrassing moment in front of like an actor that you be or like someone famous that you'd be willing to share that like maybe didn't make
Embarrassing.
the camera?
Let's see. I feel like I do a good job of like not embarrassing myself. Like I feel like I'm
Yeah.
pretty. Um, yeah, I don't. I can
No
think about
worries.
that during the interview and come
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
There's
So
been
I want to.
times, not really like embarrassing myself, but there's been times where like I have like not been rolling or something like that. I'll tell you like it's not really your question, but it's similar. Where it's like, okay, I was
Yeah,
like, I guess somewhat embarrassed about it, but it was our we did a I think it was a Facebook Marketplace video. It was a couple months ago or 6 months
yeah,
ago or something like that. And we met this guy. I think his name was Nelson, and it was like so cool. It was like the best dude. He had like this super cool like garage with stuff, and we went in there. Like he had like pretty cool story. Like it's just super
yeah.
cool. And I was like, oh sweet. And then got in the car, and I'm sure this has happened to anyone that's like filmed anything before, but got in the car and was like, "Oh, sweet, that was great stuff." Look down, you stop the video, you look down,
Yeah.
and it's recording. You're like, "Shoot!" And that whole time was just like caught in this reverse recording thing. So like that was supposed to be so much of a cooler story. We like shouted him
Yeah,
out, like, "Go do him here," because he's such a cool character. So
yeah.
I think that was the one time where I was like, I wasn't embarrassed, but I was just like, that was the most bummed I've been about like
Fair enough.
damn, I just missed this cool interaction with this like cool character
Yeah,
and could have painted such a cool story, and then
yeah.
just like you can't just like recreate that kind of stuff. So
Right. No, I
yeah, that
get
was
that.
I guess that was
What's been from your favorite content that you guys have made slash filmed? Like I love, dude. Even I don't know if this was you, but going back to like the Grant videos, like way back, like the California series, like those videos were awesome way
yeah,
back in the day.
California series is definitely up there. That was on me. That was more of a grind than anything. Like I feel like looking back, we didn't like think anything crazy about that week, and I feel like Garrett could
Yeah,
say the same of like just kind of like another week. We knew it was like, oh, this is kind of a cool idea, but yeah, that always comes back up of like people's favorite, and
yeah,
so it's cool. Like when you're in the moment, it was like such a grind traveling and going to a bunch of
yeah,
places and filming. It's like you don't realize like, oh, we're really created something pretty special there.
yeah,
Um, favorite content. Um, I I feel like there's certain trips that I have like a lot of fun on, and a lot of it is off camera where we're hanging out, and
yeah,
stuff that goes on after we film is kind of what makes a trip fun. And then as far as videos go, whenever we're in like a beautiful place, I think it's easier to have more fun filming. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, nothing. I could probably pull up like certain videos that I like, and I feel like
yeah,
it wouldn't be ones that like you would think, but some of them I like better
yeah.
than others. Like there's some videos that just for some reason I like that
No, for sure, I
sometimes
get that.
aren't as popular
One
maybe, but
One video I want to focus on specifically that you released a couple months ago, being a Michigan guy, the Arcadia Bluffs video.
hmm
So first of all, the J&A guys just did an Arcadia Bluffs video. Garrett's done an Arcadia Bluffs video. There's more people doing it, but if you aren't familiar with Arcadia Bluffs, it's a local course here in Michigan. If you're from Michigan, you know it's in the thumb, right about here, right on Lake Michigan. The nicest public course probably in the state, I would guess. One of, if not my favorite courses in the states, one of my favorite courses I've ever played. Honestly, you could bury me on the 18th tee box up there. It is such a cool video. But I want to talk about that video specifically because, like I said, being a Michigan guy. But what was that video like? Do you remember a ton filming about Arcadia? And what was that like filming that video like from your perspective?
Yeah, so that was after our couple days in Branson filming with like the NBA, like the backyard cup thing.
Yeah,
So we went from Branson, I think it's Branson, yeah, Branson
yeah,
to like straight to Michigan,
yeah.
and I think my first thought was like, what the heck? Where I'm in
Where are
Michigan?
we?
Like
Yeah,
it felt like I was on like the Oregon coast, not
yeah,
Michigan. So I think just the surprise factor made it super cool of like, oh wow,
yeah,
this is like I didn't expect such a nice course out here. And yeah, I got to stay actually on the golf course. It was supposed to be
yeah,
Garrett's room, but then they wouldn't let dogs in or something like that, so he stayed at a different Airbnb.
yeah. So
And
you
so
sit on property.
I stayed on the property.
Okay.
Super nice. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the food was great. I don't know if you've eaten there, but
Oh
like
yeah, I have.
that's some of my favorite food
Yeah,
that I've eaten on a trip. Like,
yeah,
and yeah, just we had pretty good weather, and yeah, one of the nights like someone with the bagpipes came out and like the
yeah.
sun was
Yeah,
setting and he was just
yeah,
playing bagpipes. And I was like, what the
yeah.
heck? I'm
They do
in
it all the
Michigan right
time,
now.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side note, I feel like everyone that plays bagpipes, they all play that one song. Like, is there only
Which
one song? You
I
know what
don't
I
know.
mean?
Not a bagpipe expert, but I'll have to look into
There's
it.
only they pretty much play the same song every time. It's a great song, but
Yeah.
it's so funny
We'll
that
have
like
to look into it.
it's always
How
that
how many
same song.
how many days were you guys there? Was it just like a one
We
day
were,
thing?
I think we were there 3 days. We spent a
3
lot
days?
of it just so all the D'Lo and his kind of videography team came out there and we hung out. It was 4th of July, so we were there during 4th of
Oh,
July and we
okay.
had like a day on the beach just hanging out and
Nice.
yeah, so it was super fun to spend time there and then
Yeah.
basically just film that one video.
Yeah, you guys are prime Northern Michigan, man. That is
Yeah.
like the best time to be up there. It's a really
Yeah.
cool spot. Were they pretty cool about filming? They notoriously haven't, not that they haven't been cool about it. It's just they're a resort course and they're very busy. Like they don't need like no offense to, like anyone. They don't
Yeah,
need
no.
like the exposure, but like were they pretty relaxed about you guys filming out there?
Yeah, I think so. That's not really my like. I'm sure Garrett talked to someone out there,
Yeah, that's
but I
fair.
think
Yeah.
the only thing they told me was don't fly the drone like
Yeah.
over the ocean
The
or something
lake.
like that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I think other than that, yeah, they were fine with us filming.
Cool. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, that is an awesome. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to check out that video, I thought it was a really cool video. One, obviously, very special to my heart. I was just up there a couple weeks ago. Took the day off work, me and my buddy. So they have two courses up there. We played both of them, but the Bluffs obviously being the more famous one. But I loved it because Garrett even talked about it in the video of like that was one of his like it seemed like one of his favorite videos to do, just kind of relaxing. The course, which I thought really cool, and I really want to ask him if I ever get the chance of like he had mentioned something about the course being pretty significant to him because something that him and Grant had wanted to do for a long time. And Grant, obviously being from, well, I don't know if a lot of people know that Grant being from Michigan, that was something that a trip that him and Grant always wanted to plan, which I thought was super cool. And like I said, it was just a really cool video. You do a ton of great work, man. It's you made the course pop, and it was really awesome to watch. And like I said, being a Michigan guy, that course is very near and dear to my heart. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm sure it's fun seeing like I'm sure a lot of people have this, but seeing a course that you've played and see them play
Yeah,
it is like I feel
yeah.
like that's pretty fun. Yeah.
Well, yeah, dude. It was funny enough. Like the J&A guys were up there like 2 days before I got up there. I was like, damn,
Oh,
man, if
dang.
we could have somehow linked that up. I
Yeah.
talked to Johnny and those guys a little bit, but that would have been cool. But no, you're right. And like seeing like and like you do the drone shots, man. Like you don't. I didn't have mine when I was out there, but the drone shots, like I mean, like I said, that view, you could just sit out there and I could just stare for
Yeah.
hours just into the abyss.
Yeah. No, that's what I
Cool.
did one of the nights when the bagpipe person was playing.
Yeah,
I just stood out on my balcony for like a half an hour, just like
just looked.
listening, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool.
Well, like you said, because and if everyone ever plays it who's watching this video, leave a comment about what you literally you pull up, man. I mean, there's nothing. Like this is in the middle of freaking nowhere, and you
Yeah.
pull up, and you're just like, I'm at a resort golf course in the middle of Lake Michigan, and you're just like, how did I get here? But
Yeah.
oh, it's awesome, man. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about a couple other pieces that you did. Micah, the reunion match, which is a great video. If you haven't watched that one, go
Hmm.
watch it. But also the Grant video, the Grant return and rematch. I want to focus specifically on those because I feel like they were a little different from your perspective. Micah, obviously, it had been a long time. Grant, and obviously, it had been as long, but I guess how cool was it filming those matches and what was the aura like when you were actually like filming the competitiveness and what was that like?
Yeah, I feel like both matches, the front nine, as far as a competitiveness, like there wasn't much in terms of like super competitiveness, but
Yeah.
once it gets towards the end and it gets close, and like I think in both of these, you just the intensity picks up. They're not as
Yeah.
like smiley. It's like they
Right.
kind of lock in. But yeah. What else did you ask? Sorry, you said.
It's just a little bit about like what was like the aura. I mean, like between the like I guess the difference between like was there? Did you notice like a visual difference in like the tension or attitude in between the two?
Yeah, I think I don't think there was any like tension between like any of them,
Like not in a bad
but
way. I don't want to make that
yeah,
like sound like because I'm not a drama guy. That's Nate Edwards and stuff. That's not me. I'm
yeah,
just more from like that type of just
yeah,
from like just the in general of how the atmosphere was like on the matches because you
yeah.
don't get a
Well,
lot of the behind the camera stuff.
yeah, I think that the difference was in the Grant one, like the first time they like saw each other was the first time like it was all on camera and it was like we
Yeah,
literally got there that morning and slept like 2 hours and then went
yeah,
right to the course. But I think Garrett and Micah like played the day before that, so it wasn't as
okay,
like they're also like they're cousins. They
yeah. I know.
they
Yeah,
talk and like they've seen each other to where it
yeah,
wasn't as like oh my gosh, like this is the first time they meet, like
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Whereas like
No,
more
for
of that
sure.
with Grant, and I think Garrett had seen Grant like in less time than they'd been seen
Yeah,
on camera. I hadn't seen Grant, and obviously Grant's one of my favorite people,
yeah,
and so that was like fun for me. Is like oh I get to see my old friend again, kind
yeah. I
of
was saying,
like
do you consider Grant like a good friend of yours?
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
send each other like messages here and there and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough when they're like on a different
Right.
they're
No, for
not
sure.
filming anymore or whatnot.
And
But
right, and well, and it's too. It's tough because like, dude, like it's a good thing because Grant. I mean, you know, one, I feel like it's a lot of the PGA live stuff where a lot of the drama is just made up online, and it's just like these guys are always friends. Like maybe there was some whatever. I'm not going to speculate.
yeah.
Um, but like I just feel like it was just kind of different and made up. But regardless, like it doesn't matter. Like the matches were really cool, and like I said, I'm not drama. Like that's not what we're trying to do here
Yeah.
from that perspective. But no, I get it. Do you are you pretty tight with like Sky and some of the other camera guys? Do you
I
have
wouldn't say like super tight, but you can message back and forth. And
okay?
I actually stayed like 2 days after that like the Garrett Grant match and
Yeah.
stayed at Sky's house. Like I slept there and we
Oh,
kind of like
cool.
went through footage and edited a little
Yeah.
bit and like we worked on the like teaser video we did. We kind of worked on that, like picking out music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's pretty close. Yeah, we'll
So
message here and here back and forth sometimes about
yeah.
certain. He'll post something on his story, and I'll be like, "Oh, cool," or whatever.
Yeah, no, when you so question when like obviously like I'm a golfer, right? And like so I'm very interested in golf stuff. So like when you guys are out filming, like do you guys get in the cart and like talk about like editing and filming stuff? Like versus like look at this sick 9-iron I just hit. Are you like look at this sick shot I got on the camera? Like do you
Yeah,
guys ever do that?
definitely more camera than golf
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah.
and I think even more like even with Grant is like talking about titles and thumbnails because Grant's
Yeah.
obsessed with that and all that, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why he's doing so well is he just has
Right.
like very obsessive personality about all that stuff, and so I
Yeah.
think more about like YouTube and like editing, how long it takes us to edit, hard
Yeah.
drives we use, or like cameras, just whatever,
Yeah.
just nerding out on that kind of
For
stuff because
sure.
yeah,
For sure. Cool, man. Well, before we get to the rapid fires, I want to just talk a little bit, couple other questions, get to know you a little bit outside of filming, editing, and golf. What do you like to do when you're not, like, I guess, working and doing, like, filming? Like, I know you mentioned you're pretty competitive. Like, what does your life look like outside of the filming and editing stuff?
yeah. So I live in Colorado, and that's kind of on purpose that I don't live in Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Dallas fan in terms of like the city, and it's mainly because it just gets so hot there.
Yeah, that's fair.
So and also I feel like I can have a life outside of this whole golf YouTube
Yeah.
editing stuff. Whereas if I
Right.
lived in Dallas, it would be more of like, work, I guess. So
Right.
I like
Right.
having
Kind
my
of
a life
work
outside
life
of all
balance.
that. And I'd
Yeah.
say when I'm not editing, I am playing disc golf. Like I try to be pretty
Nice.
active.
Yeah.
I like to cook. I like to play
Okay.
games. Like
Nice.
play games with roommates. Or roommate, I guess. We just had a couple people like move out, so it's just me and one
Okay.
other person. But yeah, pretty simple life. And I mean, work takes up a
Nice.
lot right
Yeah.
now, this with football and basketball season starting, I watch a lot of sports. So like
Yeah.
I'll kind of use that as motivation to get stuff done. Where it's like, okay, if I get this rough cut done, I can feel good
Yeah.
about watching, the Laker game tonight or whatever. Like,
Yeah. I
yeah.
say, who are your sports teams?
So I never really had a sports team until like I feel like the past couple months, I just because knowing Austin and D'Lo, like I feel like I
Yeah.
have to be a Lakers fan,
Fair. Yeah.
that's the closest like city to me. I guess I could be
Yeah.
Clippers fan, but yeah, never really had a team that I was like super passionate about. But now knowing them and just like wishing
Yeah.
success on them, I've been having fun rooting them on. So I would say Lakers, and then
What about football?
football, I would say same kind of recent is the Bills, and
Okay.
two being met Josh Allen like two
Sick.
years ago in it was the like celebrity tournament in
Pebble
Lake
Beach.
Tahoe.
Oh, Tahoe.
It was in
Yeah.
Tahoe, yeah. And I didn't really know much about him then, but he came up and was like, "Oh, dude, love the," like he went up to Garrett and was like, "Dude, love the videos." And I was like,
That's
"Who's
so
that?" And like,
cool.
"Dude, that's Josh Allen." And he like saw him like later that night, and
Yeah.
I've had him on my fantasy team the last 2 years, and
Nice.
I have like James Cook, and so I feel like I just all right, I'll be a Bills fan, I guess.
Nice. How's
Um,
the fantasy team this year? Any good?
Good, yeah. I
Nice.
am 5-1, and then we actually started
Oh.
a good fantasy league like a couple
Ooh.
weeks late, but it's me, Garrett, Jackson, Brad, and Blake are all in it, and I'm 2-0 in
Okay.
that one, so
Nice. Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
doing
awesome,
good.
dude. Cool, cool. So do you golf at all? I know you play a little bit, but
Yeah, I used to when I lived in Santa Barbara, like my dad and I would golf a lot. It was something that
yeah.
we like to do. But definitely less, if not like very little, living
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
also, I don't know, when I get back from a week and I just spent 7 days on a golf course for 6 hours a
Yeah.
day or 5 hours a day, whatever. It's like it's not my first choice of something to
Fair
do
enough.
to like,
Yeah.
oh, go golf again, because
Yeah.
a lot of my life is golf.
Right. And you're
Um,
not even golfing, which is the crazy part
yeah.
when you're filming.
Yeah, but it's still just I don't know, I guess it's the same thing. Sometimes I'll get
No,
the
I get it. I get it. You're still
yeah.
there, but you're not. Like I said, well, for me, I do golf's my favorite thing in the world. So like, I can
Mhm.
only imagine what it's like when you're sick of it. And like I said, you don't even get to kind of enjoy the hitting the
Yeah.
ball part of the being out there, which
Yeah.
kind of stinks.
But I think I've golfed probably maybe 4 times this year, 3 or 4 times, I think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
One of them was actually on camera. The video didn't get published, but we played in where was it? It was the Olympic Club.
Oh,
Olympic? Yeah.
cool.
It was like their
Yeah, in
par
San
3 course.
Francisco.
And played that. Yeah, it was at the par 3 course, and then
Cool.
I played twice. My dad came here, played twice here. I forget what the Bear Claw, I think. Bear
Yeah.
Trap, I think is the course here.
Yeah.
Super nice
Cool.
course. And so yeah, but yeah, don't play too much golf.
Cool. No worries. I get it. I mean, like you said, you do it for work, and
Yeah.
so I can completely understand that. All right, cool, man. Let's do the rapid fires, Ryder, and then we'll get
All
you out of
right.
here. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for doing this. Favorite, and so I've done these with a lot of the golf people, so I'm debuting some new questions for the
Okay.
camera people. So I'm gonna see how this goes. So we'll start with favorite athlete
Favorite
of all
athlete?
time. It doesn't have to be current.
I think I'm basing this off like who would I want to meet the most, and I think I'd have to say Steph Curry. I just feel
Okay.
like, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Favorite favorite creator who isn't Garrett. Do you have one?
Does it have to be golf?
No, could be whatever.
Um, Man, I would say I'll be honest, I don't watch much like YouTube golf.
I feel
I
that.
pretty much
I've heard that a lot actually.
Yeah, I pretty much watch like every intro to every golf video, but past that, it's just like I don't like I
No,
watch the
I get
intros, I'm
it.
like, oh, cool intro, and then like maybe skip to the end to see score or something. But other than that,
Yeah.
I don't really watch much. Favorite creator? Gosh, that's a tough one. Man, I do not know. I feel like I don't
No
really.
worries. We can pass and come back if you want, or shoot me a
I'll
DM
say this.
later.
I'll say Jake Triplett.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
one of our he's actually been in some golf videos, but he has a podcast that I listen to, and he
Cool.
does some pickleball videos, which I've helped out with a little bit here and there, but
Oh, nice.
he's someone that like I love and is super funny, so
Cool.
we'll go Jake Triplett.
Favorite cameraman.
Favorite cameraman?
I guess okay. Let me rephrase it. Who's a camera guy that you've worked with who you think does really great work, who maybe doesn't get as much recognition or maybe isn't as well known?
He's definitely well known. I would say I feel like I just have like the most respect for Colin, just someone that
Yeah.
like has kind of taught me a lot and is like kind of feel like pioneered
Yeah.
the way things are done and has helped me with some stuff. And it's like he's just like the GOAT, I feel like, when it comes to YouTube
Yeah.
golf stuff. So,
Dude, I
you know,
remember. Go ahead. No, I was seeing him when they did like the live thing with like the giant, like I don't know, it was a while ago, like the
yeah,
live video, like the giant like pack of camera stuff and
yeah,
live streaming equipment, like 100-degree heat. I'm like, bro,
yeah.
you you are dedicated, man. It
Yeah,
takes a
no,
lot of
he's
work.
he's on a different level in terms of just how smart he is with certain camera
Yeah,
things and figuring ways to do stuff and his editing, obviously. So,
yeah.
yeah, I'd say Colin for sure.
Okay. Favorite video you've ever made or edited and why?
Um, geez, this is the one that I would have liked to know before, so I could think about it. But
Sorry.
honestly, I feel like can I give you like a couple?
Yeah, go ahead. As many as you want. We
I'd
don't
put I'd put the food challenge up there. The food challenge that we did a couple months, like maybe 5 months ago. I'd
Yeah.
put that up there. I'd put the reunion match with Grant up there just because I feel like it was like I don't know. I'm a big fan of storytelling and kind of
Yeah.
creating some emotion. And I'd love to do that more with golf, like some sort of like documentary, something.
Yeah.
But I feel like that one gave me an opportunity to kind of pull at some strings with certain music and whatnot. So that one was a fun one. And then, gosh, I don't know. I'm literally like scrolling on.
You giving us a couple. There's
Yeah,
plenty.
I feel like it's got to be one like a video with Bob, just
Oh,
because
I love Bob,
I
dude.
love
Yeah,
editing
he's
videos
so
with him
funny.
because he's so funny
So
and
funny. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll
Dude,
give you
speaking
those
of
three, I
favorite
guess.
video, one of my favorite videos they ever did was the one where Cutsy smacked his face in the garage, dude.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
it was a short one, but dude, that is one of the most legendary clips of
Yeah,
all time.
we were with them because we were on a good like Bob does sports trip. That's when
Yeah.
I was I guess filming some
Oh,
of the good, and they
oh
came over
really?
like right after that, and I just remember how like they were showing us all the video, like oh my god, this is like so we were being with them on that
That's
night was
awesome.
funny because they were just
That's
like
awesome.
talking about it the whole time.
Cool. Favorite podcast?
Favorite podcast? I feel like I'll go with Jake Triplett has a podcast called Ghost Runners Podcast.
What
Just
is it about?
super. It's like I don't know. It's him and his friend named Brad. They just kind of talk about stuff that happens in their life, and I'll listen to it when I like go to bed, and just
Okay.
like yeah, it's super like clean, fun, and again, Jake is someone that I
Yeah,
find super funny, and Brad's
for
super fun.
sure.
They have a good dynamic, and so yeah, probably that one.
Life role model.
Life role model. Um, hmm. I'll probably say my dad. I feel like he
Yeah.
is someone that I try to, not be like, but there's a lot of things in his
Emulate.
life that he's
Yeah.
just super caring and super like, will always go out of his way to talk to people even if he barely knows them and like I don't know, there's just a lot about him that
Yeah.
I like that I try to do myself
No,
and
I get
yeah.
it. I'm the same way. That's the same
Yeah,
answer I would give. My dad is he got me into golf. I try to
same.
emulate a lot of stuff I do. I'm recently married, so try and live kind of how my dad would live. So I can get that.
Yeah.
Um, Most annoying thing about editing or filming.
Um it's editing out Garrett's sniffles. He I swear he's had a stuffy nose for like 5 years now
Dude,
and he
it's so
like
funny. So get this. He's streaming. I don't know if he's still streaming on Twitch right now. He
uh
was streaming, he started streaming at like 4:30. And so I
yeah.
jumped in, was trying to like get like, hey, give me a couple questions to ask Ryder. And he kept
Yeah.
sniffling. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I swear this is every video.
Dude, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal if we didn't have the mics, but
Yeah.
it's like it adds so much time me having to go in and like mute him when he
Yeah.
sniffles and it's like he just like does that.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
So you
Which
can be okay.
if that's the worst thing, then I feel like I got a pretty good job, which I do.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Okay, last one. And this one you might have to think about for a sec because you've done a
mhm.
lot. But coolest golf moment you filmed ever?
I don't have to think long. It's got to be Garrett's albatross.
Double eagle?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
God, I
just
knew that
the
was gonna be it.
yeah, just like the energy and the like I just remember like shaking and being like, holy crap,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. And the fact that like I
And then
got it too was a cool.
yeah, and you were like, dude, I remember because it was a
Yeah.
blind shot over that bunker, right? To
Yeah.
like, and it landed so perfect, and it just chased up to that like back flag. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah, that was definitely the craziest thing. I was like, dude, what the
Yeah.
heck? Like,
have
yeah.
you filmed any other hole in ones, or is that kind of the only like? I mean, obviously there's hole outs, but hole in ones and
Um,
albatrosses, I feel
another
like the
hole
big
in
ones.
one. I don't think I filmed or I guess we did a live stream where Jackson made a hole in one on a par three course.
Okay.
I don't know if I really
Okay.
count that, but
No.
no,
No.
that's I think that's the only like long hole in
Yeah.
one, hole out.
No, I still remember that video.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, Ryder. That's it, man. I told you I'd keep you for an hour. We're just under that. So thank you so much for
Sweet.
jumping on the Scratch Golf Show today. This was an awesome interview. Leave a comment if you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what your favorite part was. Subscribe, like. Before we go, man, anything you want to plug, any messages, any socials? I don't have any advertisement here outside of my couple buddies, so I plugged at the beginning, but feel free to say whatever you want, plug whatever you want, plug your socials, and then we'll sign off, man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First of all, it's super you're good at what you do and you're like that
Thank you.
conversation flowed really well and I have no
Appreciate
doubt you're
that.
gonna keep doing great things and
Thank you,
yeah,
man.
great stuff. I
I
guess
appreciate it.
go watch a GM golf video. My Instagram's Ryder Riva. I don't really post that much, but yeah.
Cool, man. Well, guys, that's another episode of the Scratch Golf Show. Thank you so much. Like I said, enjoy Ryder, like, comment, subscribe. That's it. Cool, man.